Exercise A, page 152.
Analyze.
Civilization.
Imagine.
Method.
Organize.
Project.
Sign up for.
Take part in.
The public.
Volunteer.
Exercise B, meaning from context, page 152.
Citizen science. When you think of doing science, what do you imagine? You probably think of scientists working in labs, but this is not true for all science projects. There are some that allow non-scientists to do important research work. Scientists sometimes organize and run experiments in which anyone can take part. These are called citizen science or community science projects because members of the public can work on them. Over the years, such projects have given scientists a lot of useful knowledge. Perhaps the oldest citizen science project is from Japan. For 1,200 years, people in Kyoto have been able to volunteer to note the dates when cherry trees look the most beautiful. This information may not seem important, but it helps scientists analyze and understand how our climate has changed. Another project, called Ancient Lives, gave the general public a chance to help experts understand the civilizations of ancient Greece and Egypt. Interested people first had to sign up online and do some training. After that, they looked at damaged pieces of old documents and typed in the words they saw. Some documents were poems or letters. Others described shopping trips from long ago. Not all citizen science projects are started by scientists. Terry Herbert, a member of the general public, searched for treasure in a field in England in 2009. He found so many gold and silver coins that he had to ask archaeologists for help. They then studied the site using scientific methods.
Exercise A, predict, page 154.
Welcome to another episode of Crowd Science. This podcast covers community science projects, including many that you can take part in. The 3 projects I want to share today each offer the public a chance to learn about the past, but in very different ways.
Listening, crowd science. Exercise B, main ideas. And Exercise C, details, page 154.
Welcome to another episode of Crowd Science. This podcast covers community science projects, including many that you can take part in. The 3 projects I want to share today each offer the public a chance to learn about the past, but in very different ways. First up, Dinosaur Dig Vacations. Some institutions and organizations, including museums, colleges, and private companies, organize these special vacations where people can search for dinosaur bones, teeth, and other fossils. I went on one of these vacations last year, actually, in the beautiful Canadian province of British Columbia. It was challenging but amazing. Along with the other volunteers, I was given some basic training to learn the correct scientific methods and techniques. After that, we did the same work as the scientists at the site. For the first few hours, I worked with a team of scientists to remove a large dinosaur bone from the ground. They told me the bone was millions of years old and explained all about it. It was great because not only was I learning about the past, but I was working on something that would increase other people's understanding too. And then after lunch, I noticed a shape in the dirt. I asked one of the scientists what it was. I couldn't believe it when she told me it was a dinosaur tooth and that I could keep it. As I'm sure you can imagine, spending days outside in all kinds of weather while searching for dinosaur fossils can be hard work. If you're not really interested in digging around in the dirt, there are other options. A website called MicroPasts has a list of archaeology projects that you can sign up and volunteer for from the comfort of your own home. Projects might focus on civilizations from places like ancient Britain, Rome, Egypt, and the Near East, for instance. A lot of the projects involve reading the notebooks of experts from the past. Many of these notebooks are old and hard to read. As a result, researchers need people to type up handwritten words or describe old drawings. This work helps archaeologists and other scientists analyze and understand the research that was done in the past. This may not sound especially important, and you won't discover a dinosaur tooth or other cool historical objects. Still, it all contributes to our understanding of the past and is a fantastic way to let non-scientists help science advance. Some projects give volunteers a chance to learn information that has never been published before. This can help experts and the public learn how life in the past was both similar to and different from life today. Other projects help museums bring their information up to date. A good illustration is the British Museum, which has organised several citizen science projects on the MicroPasts site. Participants entered data from old records so that experts can study the information more easily. Going on a paleontology or archaeology vacation and taking part in an online project are both organised ways to do community science. The last community project I want to tell you about, though, is an example of a different kind of project that didn't have an organiser at first. For many years in Northern Europe, British people working on fishing boats and Dutch people walking on the beach have found objects made by ancient humans. Archaeologists studied these objects and realised that there used to be land in the sea between eastern Britain and Europe. They have now named this area Doggerland. Thousands of years ago, lots of humans and animals lived there. However, around 9,000 years ago, after a natural disaster and a long period of climate change, it was lost under the sea. Without the many objects collected by the public over the years, archaeologists would not have discovered Doggerland. Digging for dinosaurs, doing online citizen science projects, and finding and reporting unusual objects from the past are very different activities. But they're also similar because each one helps us learn more about the past. But why is this important? Is it just to gain knowledge? For me, the answer is no. For me, one of the amazing things about people is that we love learning not just because we want to learn, but also because we want to grow, to develop, and to find solutions to the problems that we face. In other words, we can take this new knowledge and use it for a purpose such as understanding climate change or recognizing that life in ancient civilizations was familiar in many ways. And for me, community science projects are a great way to learn and grow. I hope you feel the same.
Exercise D, page 155. 1.
First up, dinosaur dig vacations. Some institutions and organizations, including museums, colleges, and private companies, organize these special vacations where people can search for dinosaur bones, teeth, and other fossils.
2.
A website called Micropasts has a list of archaeology projects that you can sign up and volunteer for from the comfort of your own home. Projects might focus on civilizations from places like ancient Britain, Rome, Egypt, and the Near East, for instance.
3.
Other projects help museums bring their information up to date. A good illustration is the British Museum, which has organised several citizen science projects on the Micropasts site. Participants entered data from old records so that experts can study the information more easily.
4.
Going on a paleontology or archaeology vacation and taking part in an online project are both organised ways to do community science. The last community project I want to tell you about, though, is an example of a different kind of project that didn't have an organiser at first.
Exercise E. Focused listening. Page 155.
We can take this new knowledge and use it for a purpose such as understanding climate change or recognizing that life in ancient civilizations was familiar in many ways.
Exercise C. Page 156.
Today I'm going to talk about an ancient Maya city in Guatemala called San Bartolo. It's an important site because beautiful wall paintings called murals were discovered there. The story of that discovery is actually kind of interesting. Let me summarize it. About 20 years ago, an archaeologist and National Geographic explorer, William Saturno, was studying the site. He was hot and tired and hungry and thirsty. And he was feeling disappointed because he hadn't found anything new or exciting. Then Saturno saw a hole. He thought people who wanted to steal objects from the site had probably made it. Still, the sun was hot and the hole looked cool. So Saturno climbed in. He looked around and saw paint on a wall. He looked more closely and started to get excited. Why? He had just discovered paintings that were nearly 2,000 years old. That's pretty amazing, right? But it actually gets even more amazing. About 10 years after his discovery of the San Bartolo wall paintings, Saturno was part of a team studying a second Maya site in Guatemala. And guess what? The team discovered new wall paintings.
Exercise A. Model. And Exercise B. Analyze the model. Page 160.
I'd like to talk about the pharaoh Tutankhamun. Pharaoh means something like king. Tutankhamun is probably the most famous pharaoh from the ancient civilization of my country, Egypt. Most well-known people from history are famous because they did something important or amazing during their lives. Tutankhamun is different. He was pharaoh about 3,350 years ago for less than 10 years, and he died before he could do anything very special. So, why is Tutankhamun so important and famous? Well, it's because of three things that happened after he died. First, many gold items and other valuable objects were placed in Tutankhamun's tomb. A tomb is a stone building where the dead body of an important person is put. Second, and more importantly, when Tutankhamun's body was discovered, all of the treasure was still there. The discovery of his body and the treasure happened about 100 years ago in 1922. Previous discoveries in Egypt had little or no treasure, so the third reason he became famous is that newspapers and radio stations all over the world told the story of Tutankhamun's gold. He became one of the first celebrities. Anyway, Tutankhamun is special and important because he's a symbol of ancient Egypt. People all over the world know about him, and museums all over the world display objects from his tomb.